Hey friends, welcome everybody to an awesome live marketing webinar with Alan Lee and Jason Call. We are excited for you all to tune in with us today. We are going live on YouTube and Facebook in our mastermind group. So if one little quick detail, if you are joining us on Facebook in the mastermind group, you need to allow StreamYard access to see your name and information on Facebook so that we can see your name over here in the chat section. So we're going to wait for a few people to chime in here. But the whole kind of the flow of this webinar is it's going to be a Q&A based webinar. So any questions that you have in regards to marketing, last time we even took a lot of business questions. We basically just want to talk anything about handyman related. So, but first off, go ahead and leave us in the chat section what your name is, where you're located, and if you have a handyman business or not. We would absolutely love to get to know you. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. Again, this is a Q&A. We'll have a little introduction here in a second, again, for new people coming in. But yeah, go ahead and leave us a chat section of what your name is, where you're located, and do you have a handyman business or not. But Jason, maybe you want to go ahead and introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, I'm Jason Call. So I am the founder of Handyman Web Design. So we help a handyman turn into a professional handyman business with modern digital marketing. So setting up your own marketing systems that it's not reliant on other pay-per-lead platforms and all that good stuff. So anyway, that's who I am.
Yeah, that's all. I guess I didn't really introduce myself. I just assume people know me. But my name is Alan Lee, the founder, owner, operator of Honestly Handyman Services here in Sacramento, California. I have also gone on to create the Handyman Journey Business Consulting, where we help handyman businesses, go from anywhere from startup to, getting their marketing established to hiring their first employee and beyond. So we're going to go ahead and take a few comments here. And this is a completely live Q&A webinar. So go ahead and leave your questions in the chat section here. So we got Dakota Bartlett. What's up, Dakota? He says, I finally made a live. I run Bartlett Home Services in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hey, welcome, Dakota. Great to see you, man. Facebook user says, so what.com? I don't know what that's referring to.
I think it's the same guy. We can't see your name, man, but I think he's kind of giving me some flack on the what.com. I don't remember. We're talking about like canva.com or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's funny. Great to see you again. And if you are tuning in on the Facebook Handyman Journey Mastermind group, go ahead and allow StreamYard access to see your name so that we can see your name in the chat section, because we're using StreamYard as a streaming service. So you're going to need to go above this video or beside this video, depending on what platform you're watching it, and grant StreamYard access to see your name on Facebook so that we can see you as well. So go ahead and, leave us in the chat section, what your name is, where you're located, and if you have a handyman business or not. We would absolutely love to hear from you. We got Army Guns 937 says, the man, the handyman. Brian Cornelius says, BC Trends LLC here in Phoenix, Arizona. Who's the guy in the glasses? LOL, just kidding, Al. Yeah, that's me. Facebook user says, hey, dudes. Jay Back says, what's up? We should start every call with a what's up.
Yeah, let's bring it back to 2000.
Dean, maybe that's Dean Hazelwood that said that about the .com. We can't see you because you're a Facebook user. Let's see. Army Gun says, handyman business is going strong here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Great work, awesome, man. Great work. J-Back says, Buffalo, New York. A&J Handyman Services. Go Bills. You think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl ever? That's just a bad joke. Well, we got a friend that's from New York, and he's like, every year, he's like, this is the year, right? And then every year they aren't, but. So Dakota Bartlett says, how do you calculate day rate? It's a good question. Good question for business, for sure. We can get into that here in a little bit. Let's talk about some marketing stuff first. But we'll get into that, Dakota. J-Back says, yep, they're always going to win. Go Broncos. Oh, we got a little bit of a NFL fight here. Do you do radon insulation in California? Nope, I don't. I do not. So what do you think, Jason? You want to get started on our first question here?
The review thing.
Yeah. Or do you want me to talk about calculate day rate?
I would say we just knock out the review thing.
Okay.
Just to start,
So,
and then we can dig into all the chat questions. Because
yeah.
I mean, I don't imagine taking more than like 5 minutes. So.
Okay, so we're going to jump into our first marketing question here. This is going to be a marketing webinar Q&A, so it's open to you guys. We're opening the floodgates right now. So any questions you guys have in regards to marketing, go ahead and post it in the chat section right now. A marketing professional, Jason Call, is going to answer your question. But first, we're going to get started on this marketing question of the week. And go ahead, Jason. Maybe you want to just say what the question is first and then go for it.
Yeah, so I have a new customer that he's getting all his online marketing all set up, his profiles. He's actually moving to a whole new like area from like Florida to Georgia. So he's starting completely fresh. And so, I've given him lots of just tips and stuff on where to go. And he had a question this weekend that I noted because this call comes up, we try to have something prepared. And it was a good question that I think covers a lot of bases. And his question was, I recommended building some reviews because he's running some like actual local print ads in like in a newspaper and kind of like starting that way. And so I told him that the importance of getting some reviews so we can display those on the website so that anyone that goes, he can kind of be seen as like trustworthy. So he has a Google, he has a Yelp, and he has Angie's List set up. And he asked me where to focus reviews. And I said, Google, then Yelp. I then found out that he pays Angie's List to get on a top 10 list. And so what we're going to dive into is why I recommended Google, then Yelp, and then knowing what he does with Angie's List, why that's an important factor. So we're going to dig into it real quick. I've got a screen share I'm going to throw up. Can you see that okay?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, sweet. So this gentleman, John, is in Hiawassee, Georgia. It's actually a super rural area, kind of an interesting marketing thing when it's that rural. But so here, someone is looking up, they need a handyman, they need a home repair service, looking up handyman in Hiawassee, Georgia. So the first thing we're going to see here is Google Ads. 15% of clicks go here. Now we have Google Maps, about 35% of clicks go here. And then 50% of clicks go to the organic website listings, with half of those going to actually number one. So in this case, and in many cases too, the Yelp top 10 list is, it's going to be number one. Yelp is just a super prominent, very, very high domain authority. So it's going to be ranking very high in most areas. So, so walking through why I recommended Google. First off, unless you're running Google ads, you're not going to be here. Okay, that's where you like pay per click. It's got ad. As you can see here, there's local handyman pros. They advertise everywhere, cheap handyman services. I doubt if you're trying to build a business, you want to work with them because you're likely getting paid very little for that lead. Angie's List here, TaskRabbit, Thumbtack. I saw a question about Thumbtack. This is how they get their leads, guys. When you look at like Home Advisor and Thumbtack and you pay per lead, they are first paying for this click right here. So clicking into Thumbtack, they're a massive company. So, we'll charge them the $1 or $2 if they spend on the click here. So this is how they're giving leads to people that pay them. They're driving traffic to this top 10 list. So, there's people here that are advertising on Thumbtack. So anyway, that's the pay-per-click section. Why I recommended Google, number one. As you can see, Google Maps is the first thing that comes up. 35% of clicks come here. In many rural areas and many areas, no matter where you are, there is great opportunity to rank in Google Maps. There's multiple factors that come into ranking here. But the ones that you can focus on is, you got to set up your address correctly. You got to optimize your profile. Make sure you have handyman selected as your category. There's lots of other stuff we won't get into, but this is why I recommend Google as one of the primary places to drive reviews. It gets 35% of the clicks, and it's first right here. So it's kind of a bad example, because it's like, what is the best click right here? I mean, I guess Barry Fair Home Improvement LLC. He's got 1 5-star review and he's got a website. This guy doesn't have any reviews. This guy's got 2 reviews. One is a 1-star, one's a 5-star. So that's why Google, #1 recommended to get reviews. Yelp is second because, as you can see, here's the Yelp top 10 list. So when you look at like the consumer behavior, they're typing in that handyman in Hiawassee, Georgia. If they're not clicking on an ad, they're not clicking here, then half of these clicks are coming right here to Yelp. And so you want to be here. And actually, if this guy advertises with Yelp, which you just want to be sure you know what you're paying for, because they do promote to the top of a list. That's an option if you make that clear to them. They could instantly get right here, #1 spot, by paying a little bit of advertising dollars to Yelp. Again, highly depends on your area whether that's going to be worth it for you. But you could see how a consumer would type in handyman in Hiawassee, Georgia, and then come to this list and then search through here. Again, because it's so rural, there's not really great examples of like, this is the obvious click. But say Owens B Services has like 10 5-star reviews and these guys are still at 1 star. These guys are going to get a lot of the clicks and a lot of the calls. So that's why my first couple recommendations were Google and then Yelp. John, this guy, he then pointed out that he advertises on, he signed up with like Angie's List. So that changes things a bit. Angie's List, as you can see here, is the 3rd ranking organic listing down here. This likely isn't getting a ton of clicks compared to Yelp. However, something that's very, very important is that Angie's List is advertising to, like, they're getting the pay-per-click. So if he's paying Angie's List to be promoted, then he's going to want to get some reviews on his Angie's List profile. Because 1, he's paying Angie's List to be promoted. Angie's List is paying for the click up here. They are the 3rd listed organic website right here. So it's certainly worthwhile if you're paying for any kind of profile for like prominent display within their website. You want to have a handful of reviews. So that's why it's important for me to know that this guy's advertising on Angie's List, paying to be promoted here, because he'll definitely want to maximize those ad dollars by getting a handful of reviews on his Angie's List profile. From there, obviously, I hope you can see the importance of Google My Business. Just super high visibility, tons of clicks go here. Focusing reviews on here. Also, Google My Business is very directly tied to your website in the way of like search engine optimization. So giving lots of love to that profile is just one of the greatest tactics any local home service can do. So I know we just covered a lot, but that's basically the reasoning here of why Google and then why Yelp is important to focus on reviews right here, #1 site. And then of course, talking a little bit about the pay-per-click stuff. So that's what I got on that question. Is there anything that any question that you have, Alan, or anything that came up?
Well, there's one question that came up. I put on the screen here. Dean Hazelwood says, Jason, how would I find out what the major search engines are used in Canada, specifically the best city in the world, Ottawa, Ontario?
So as far as finding a search, and so 80%, the last number I saw is 80% of users just go right to Google. So Google's kind of just the king on search. So that's why SEOs, I mean, they're looking at what Google does. They're looking at Google results. It's because a large majority of people use Google. Whenever someone has an actual need for a home service, 80% of people, if they don't know anybody, they're going to Google to search for a home service. So in the way of the actual search engine, Google is just kind of it. It is good practice though. You want to have a Bing Maps. Apple Maps just released a whole new system for business listings. Creating these maps profiles is very good. Yahoo Local is another one. So anyone that's using Yahoo, Bing, having like an actual maps profile on the specific to that browser, specific to that search engine, it's good. And it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to set up.
Definitely. Yeah. We got one guy here says my Google service has me 1% or #1 in my area of search. So blessed.
Awesome.
5 5-star reviews. There's one more question here by Wade of All Trades. We appreciate all your questions, guys. If you guys have any more questions, go ahead and post them in the chat section. Maybe you want to tackle this question here, Jason. Then
yeah.
I got
so there are the best way to get reviews in the follow-up. I mean, reviews.
Let's read the question first, in case, because some people are just listening and not watching. So go ahead and read it.
See, you're the expert on this stuff. I'm just I'm just diving in. So Wade of All Trades asked, what is the most effective way to get reviews? So there's a saying in business that's fortune is in the follow-up. So most sales are made on following up. Reviews, you should follow up on getting reviews because they're that important. Yes. And sometimes it can take a follow-up. So as far as the most effective way to get reviews, I highly recommend baking in a review ask into your CRM. So I know a lot of guys on here, they use Mark8, they use Jobber, they use Joist. A lot of these, they will, when a job's completed or paid for, you can ship them a template like receipt, and also set up some automations for like email. So after invoice is paid, send them this. So the most effective way to get reviews is by automating it, because that way you don't have to keep track of everything. Make sure you ask so-and-so for a review and then double check to see if they ever did it and then follow up with them. So the best way is to kind of bake it into a system. If you don't have any systems in place right now, you can grab like review links for various profiles. So for Google My Business, you can use what's called your short name to create like a review link. So for Honestly Handyman, it's like g.page/honestly handyman/review. So finding a link like that for your Google My Business and then texting a customer, like I'm talking when you are right there leaving the job saying it's done, you get the check, you get your payment. Hey, do you mind leaving me a review on Google? Like I'll shoot you a text like right when I get in my truck. Or van, whatever it is, your vehicle. So it's a similar concept of like making a sale. So like whenever a lead comes through, you want to call them and get in touch with them right away. Like the lead, you are more likely to get a hold of somebody within 5 minutes after they contact you. The same goes with if you're way more likely to get a review right when the job is done. So look at HVAC is a great home services industry to kind of like model, because they're very advanced as far as their business operations and marketing. HVAC companies, I've had a couple in my personal house, and they are so good at when that technician, they have their upsell on their maintenance program, which I highly recommend you guys form some kind of maintenance quarterly inspections or whatever it is. But right after they try and upsell you on that, they ask if you will leave them a review, and then you get a text with a link. So long way to say the most effective way to get reviews. There's reputation management software, but baking it into your CRM, your systems is best. And then asking for that review right there in front of them, right when you got the job, right when the customer's got a big smile on their face. That's a surefire way to just increase your, I guess, reviews per customer.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, Wade, I would echo what Jason said. You know, fortune is in the follow-up. And that's something huge that we talk about in our Business Builders private group. And it's so important to follow up. And it's really about, like Jason said, baking that into your systems. Another thing that is most important about creating a big business is setting up systems so that your business is basically automated and you delegate every task. So we get reviews, you know, a lot of reviews throughout the month. And I don't personally have to ask for them. You know, I'm not the technician going out there doing the work. I have a technician that does basically the way that things go is I have a technician that does the work, and we have created a thing called a VIP coupon club card. And it's basically a card that is, you know, we present that to the customer saying, hey, occasionally we send out coupons and we would love to have you a part of this VIP coupon club. So they fill it out, their name, their address, their email address, and their birthday. So basically that goes and gets put into our CRM, and our customer relations personnel reaches out to that person, you know, so many weeks after we've done the work and asks for, they basically follow up with them, say, hey, how was the work? Is everything good? You got any leaks going on? You know, this and that. And they kind of follow up, kind of poking and prodding for more work if they have any. And then they also ask for a review. And then whenever their birthday comes up, they get sent a birthday card. So they kind of get put into this chain of constant follow-up. So every single year, whether they continue to be our client or not, they're going to get a birthday card from us. That's just one way of kind of keeping them as a retained customer. But follow-up is very, very important to get a review. Like Jason said, there's things like on Markate or Jobber, things like that, where you can pay them a certain amount of money and they will automatically send out a review link, a week or 2 weeks after the work is done, or right after the work is done. Army Guns 937 had a good input. He says, I offer 10% on future services. I offer a easy to click link when I send my invoice. So that's one way of doing it. I used to work for an auto shop. As most of you guys know, before I went into this trade, I was an automotive technician, and they killed it on Yelp reviews, but they really pushed it. So they always had an ongoing thing, like if you left us a Yelp review and brought it into the shop and showed us the Yelp review, we would give you 10% off your next service or whatever. So there's always like things that you can come up with, ideas to kind of create, more pressing to actually leave a review. But the biggest thing you can do is ask for it. You have to follow up. So Jason, you got anything else to add to that there?
No, I mean, Army Guns 937. That's just a great way to do it. That automates the process, provides a little incentive. I know there's companies that have different rules about you should not offer incentive to leave reviews and all that. I don't think it's very regulated. So as long as you've got the system automated, and then I would make a point to follow up on getting reviews from customers are really, really happy with the work. Because tying into Ryan Arnold asked, do reviews matter to companies? Yes, they do. If someone doesn't have a referral, they don't know somebody, they're going online and they're researching out, and they're looking at websites, they're looking at reviews, they're looking at Facebook. A lot of the purchase decision happens right on Google, like the map section I pulled up in that example. They see a business that has 25-star reviews, and there's a little call button, and they click it and they call. So they might not read the reviews. I actually pulled up some stats here that comes from a reputation management company we work with. There's two stats here I'll read. 82% of consumers read online reviews for local businesses, with 52% of 18 to 54-year-olds that say they always read reviews. So a lot of people read reviews. The second, and this is really the big important part of reviews too, they do play a role in SEO and your online visibility for various profiles. But here's the biggest thing. The average consumer reads 10 reviews before feeling able to trust a business.
Wow.
So when you have that reputation, when you have online reviews that speak to your quality of work, when they speak to your quality of their business, you show up on time, you do what you say you're going to do, you and people pay and are happy for the service that they get. When they can read that from other people, it's one of the best things you can do for your marketing, because your customers sell your business, and you can say as many times you want, shout it from the highest mountain, like, I am the best handyman. People love me. I do great work. It means nothing compared to the guy that isn't shouting that, but he's got 100 5-star reviews that all testify to, their work. So reviews definitely matter. And I highly recommend having a system in place to consistently get them.
Definitely. I was, it was interesting. I was replacing a garbage disposal last week for a client. So right now I fill in two times a week, basically, for about 4 hours a day, for technician work in the handyman business. But I was doing a garbage disposal for a gal, and it was very interesting hearing her buying decision, because we got into like a big discussion about business and things like that. Turns out this gal, she owns a bunch of rental properties, so she's used handyman and construction and painters a lot. So it was interesting to kind of dig into her buying decision and what led into that, because most people, when they buy, they aren't that thoughtful of it, but she was really thoughtful. She was telling me that she researched us heavily. She originally saw us through our Facebook ad campaign. That's how she originally heard about us, and then she researched us very heavily on Google, Yelp, Facebook, everything like that. When she figures out who to hire, she looks for someone that has good reviews, but not just. It was interesting. She said, I don't look for someone with 1 review. I don't look for someone with 10 reviews, because anyone can have 10 friends that leave a good review. She's like, I look for that person who has 20, 30, 40 reviews, and it doesn't always have to be perfect 5 stars. It was very interesting. So she goes through those reviews and she picks through them with a fine-tooth comb. And like ours, we have maybe 4 or 5 1-star reviews. Clients that, and those clients are people that we didn't actually work for. They were just kind of mad with things that went on through the estimating process, or they were out of our service area or things like that. But it doesn't really matter so much about the 1-star review, but how you respond to the 1-star review. That's what people are really looking for. So I can tell you that I have had more people that have told me that they called me because of one specific 1-star review. I've heard that more often than people who've called me because I have 40 5-star reviews. It's so interesting, because that 1-star review, the way that I handled that and responded to that client, really makes the difference and shows what, who I am and what my business is. So I think that's the most important thing, is reviews definitely do matter, because people look at those, like Jason said, they look at least 10 reviews before they might make their decision. I did mention a VIP coupon club, and one of our business builders asked if I can bring that sorry, I can't talk. One of our business builders asked if I could bring that VIP coupon card to tonight's call, and I will definitely do that. What he's referring to is we have a private business builders group where we have a bunch of guys and gals that are really focused on building a business, and we have bi-monthly group coaching calls. So tonight is actually one of our bi-monthly group coaching calls. It's actually going to be really awesome. We're going to be talking about KPIs and how to basically structure your business so that you can hit every goal that you make. So I'm excited about that. So yes, I will be bringing that VIP coupon club to tonight's call. If you guys are interested in that private business builders group, go ahead and send me a personal message or send me an email at handymanjourney@gmail.com. I'd love to get you some information on that. Let's see here. So Army Guns 937 says, should I get in touch with other local handymen and use them for marketing? I am too busy. Send work that their way, or vice versa, things like that. I think we've talked about this before, haven't we, Jason?
I mean, we've definitely talked about it's good to build relationships with other contractors, with other home repair companies, because there's always somebody that needs someone to do something that they can't.
Definitely.
I would say it's even more important. Like Army Guns, if you're trying to build your business and hire employees, yes. Like if you're just trying to stay busy yourself and you're already super busy, then I guess it doesn't really matter. It's also, if there's any new businesses out there or guys that are thinking about starting. I was just talking to a guy this morning who focuses on drywall, and because he's brand new, he's got very little to no budget, and he's just trying to navigate everything. I always tell these guys to network, reach out to electricians, plumbers, people that are blowing down walls, and they need to subcontract out the drywall repair guy, right? Mm-hmm. So it's especially a good tactic for anyone that's new. Build relationship with general contractors, with plumbers, people that just need the smaller repairs, and it's not their focus, but they'll happily subcontract you out in their bid or just recommend you to the homeowner.
Definitely. Yeah. And I would piggyback on that you should definitely make contacts with other people in your area, but make sure you know who you're making a contact with, because there's nothing worse than someone calling you because they understand that you are an honest person who works with integrity. And then you say, oh, I'm super booked out, but call this guy. If that guy messes up, they're going to come back to you. And I mean, they shouldn't, right? They should not pin back on you because it was his deal. But oftentimes they trust you as the handyman because you're the person that they called, and you are the person that they want to work with, and you're referring someone else. So you're saying, I trust this guy, he will do you right. But sometimes things don't always go right? So make sure you have a good relationship with these people and keep those relationships strong, whatever you need to do. So I think it's important to have a community, but make sure your community is people that you want to work with. For instance, one line that I've used a lot is, people will ask me, hey, do you know a good plumber, or do you know a good painter, or do you know a good electrician? I know a good few of those guys, right? But if I have not met a plumber that I would trust, I'll tell them straight up, to be honest, I have not come across a plumber yet that I would trust to refer to you, because I want to refer someone that I trust and that I would have in my home. If you have a plumber that you trust, I would love to get that contact information. Like I tell the clients that, like, if they just had a plumber work, I'm like, give me that guy's card because I want to reach out to him. I'm always looking for people to connect with. So I think that's an important deal. Jason, do you have anything else to add on to that before we add on to the next one?
No. I mean, I would just encourage anyone that's new or like slow, just to network with those guys and see who has a need. It's just a really great resource for potential like free leads from that could be consistent if you find the right partnership.
Definitely. And we got another question from Arbing Guns. I'm loving these questions, guys. Like, if you guys got more questions, leave them in the chat section. The floodgates are really open, so we're not discriminating here. So ask whatever question you have. There are no stupid questions. The only stupid question is the question that's not asked. So appreciate your guys' questions. Army Gun says, do you think marketing your brand is important? Company logo on shirts, hats, or vehicles? Jason, you want to take this one?
Sure. I would answer that question with a question of, when you hire a well-known company in your area for home services, what do their technicians show up in? What does their estimator show up in? They show up in a company truck or a little car for an estimator. They show up in the polo. They have hats, everything. And instantly they're solidified as a professional company that they can get the job done. So it is important. It's very important. And the cost of a polo, a screen printed polo, a basic magnet for a truck, it's so cheap. You could spend less than $50, or, well, I'm not sure about the magnet. You could spend less than $100. Very confident about that, and have that stuff dialed in. And it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Definitely. I mean, yeah. Instant, like, if you think about a colored shirt, right? Like this shirt right here, I don't know if you guys can see it, but like if I walk up in this shirt, what do I look like right now, right? You guys can tell me probably what I look like and if I look professional or not. Now, if I didn't have my hair done, if I came in with a polo with some holes in it, like I just got done welding in the shop, what does that perspective show, right? Like, first impressions are often the biggest thing. And so that's why I think about trucks. We just got our big U-Haul that we use for service. We just got that decaled, and that has been awesome. In the first 4 days that we had it, we got 4 stops. So 4 people stopped our truck and said, give me some information, whether that was at a red light yelling at us, whether that was at a client's house asking for a business card. 4 times in 4 days. Absolutely phenomenal. And those are just the people that are outwardly asking, right? There's people that are sitting at the red light just writing down the number and not saying anything, right? We can't track those people. But having a decal on everything is one of the most important things that you can do as far as like organic marketing goes. And I think it's really important, like, especially for growing a brand. We always teach in the Handyman Business Builders group that small businesses need to think like a big business, right? We oftentimes get stuck in this small habit where it's like, oh, we're just a small business, so we don't need to do this, or we can't afford this, or why should I put decal on my truck because I'm just a small business? No, you are a small business because you think you're a small business, right? You need to think like a big business. That's the most important thing. So if anything, if you're not worried about the organic marketing of decals, worry about the business growth and the business mindset and how people perceive you. When you show up, looking crisp and in matching uniforms with your guys and in a decal truck, people are already going to pinpoint you as a professional handyman and trust you a lot more than Joe Schmo that shows up smoking a cigarette with holes in his shirt. Like that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah, and Alan, your truck, the U-Haul, it looks so awesome. If you guys haven't seen Alan's U-Haul on Facebook or something, it's sweet. Like the phone number is like huge, the logo. I mean, that thing is going to pay for itself, no doubt.
Yeah, it was crazy. I went in to look at it before they put it on the truck, and I saw this big old sign because they had basically the tape laid out on the ground, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the small one for the back door. And I'm like, that's the small one? It's already huge. So this thing, it's just massive. Like, it's huge, and at the end of the day, my marketing is super simple. I don't got like a fancy wrap. I don't got, services on my truck. All I got is the first thing you're going to see when our truck's driving down the road at 60 miles an hour, you're going to see handyman and then our phone number. I don't even care if people know what the name of our business is at that point. Just that they see a big old handyman with our big old phone number and it looks professional because they're going to call me, right? And then after the fact, they can figure out that we're honestly handyman. But the way that my mind's working is I'm thinking like a big business. So 10 years from now, they're going to just get a slight glimpse of our logo and be like, that's honestly handyman, right? Like he's the biggest handyman around. Like, you know, like we're going to be noticed, you know, and that's just one part of it. So that's excellent. So Dean Hazelwood says, what was your worst review and how was it handled? That's a big fear of mine as a new business. I got a lot of not a lot of bad reviews, but it's so easy to think like, because one bad review outweighs like 10 bad reviews or good reviews, right? Just like when someone says something bad to you, it hurts, you know, even if 10 people tell you good things about you. So I've had a few. I don't dwell on them. I used to dwell on them really hard, but now I just kind of, you know, I reply to them, give them peace, and then I move on, you know, because at the end of the day, some people are just having a horrible day. There's one that rings true is a guy that he submitted a work request on Yelp. This was back three and a half years ago. Submitted what Yelp request, work request on Yelp, and I said, hey, would love to work with you. He just said, I think he said like my mom needs such and such done. I said, okay, we would love to, you know, get you an estimate. If you could submit a work request form on our website, that would be great. That was our system of doing things back then. Now we have things that are completely different because we have four employees, so we have systems for everything like that. So that happened will not happen again because of our systems. So he submits a work request on our website, and it turns out he's in Folsom, right? And unfortunately, at the time, we did not service Folsom. So I told him, I said, sorry to tell you, but unfortunately, we don't service Folsom at this time. But we would love to, you know, help you out down the road when we do. And he got all mad because he felt like he was put through the loop, through the ringer, because he submitted a work request on Yelp that did not say Folsom. And then he submitted a work request on our website because I asked him to, and that said Folsom, and that's when I, you know, declined him. So he just felt like he shouldn't have had to go through those hoops, but it got a lot more heated than that. It turned out that I don't know, he was in a different place emotionally, right? So he was not in a place of to have a good conversation with. So it went south very quickly. But I always responded with the champion mentality, and that's the biggest thing that you can do when you are faced with someone who is adversely attacking you is just, you know, go back with them and champion mentality. Because at the end of the day, all we can do is like, hey, man, I bless you, and, you know, I will pray for you. But I got my own stuff to do, you know, at the end of the day. Do you see any questions you want to tackle there, Jason? I'll pull one up.
Let's see. Let me scroll back here. Let's see. What if you can't get your money back from a plumber? I don't know anything about that, getting money back from a plumber. So.
Well, let's see that one. See, so Ryan Arnold says, what to do if you can't get your money back from a plumber that owes us money back we have done courts, but he lost, but it just dragging out. Anything else we can do to get him to pay? Honestly, no clue. Sorry. That would be talk to an attorney. Yeah. Army Gun says, thanks for your help, guys. I am growing and growing fast. It's overwhelming. Dude, that's awesome. Growth is an exciting thing. And too often it is an overwhelming factor. It's really one of the things that leads people to big time stress is growing, not necessarily growing too fast, but just growing in general because they don't do it in the right way. So I would just caution you to make sure that you are growing at a pace that you can handle and grow in a way that will be sustainable in 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that your business can actually build this brand. Because you would hate to just grow for the money aspect of it, and then 4 years from now you burn out and you can't handle it. So if you're interested in more about creating systems and creating sustainable business model, reach out to me, send me a personal message on Facebook, or send me an email at handymanjourney@gmail.com. I got some great things that would help you out, but make sure that you are going to be sustainable so that you can keep going for years on end.
Or even months, like 3, 6, 9 months, because, you know, with any like home service, there can be like a flood of leads and work booked. And looking down the road past like into December, which for a lot of people is like a slower season. It doesn't have to be slow if you're if you plan it accordingly. If you have your marketing geared up and you're ready and you have a constant flow of leads, you won't experience a slow season. So even like having growth and like having like a killer month or two, that's awesome. But certainly be focused on how you can maximize how awesome you did in that month and invest that into 6 months down the road to have an even better one, or a year, and to like blow out your best month. If say like July, August is, your screamer months where that's where you book all your decks and, all this bigger stuff. Like, what are you doing to invest that success into next year or into the slow season? And what are you doing to make sure you're known in your community? Because there's work all year round. There's enough work for everybody year round. So, but it's just a matter of allocating those resources, marketing dollars to make it all happen.
That's huge, man. That's huge. And like, that makes you think like the thing about a good year or a good month is that it always ends, right? Every single month is going to end. Every single year is going to end. So what are you going to do the next one? That's what one of the things is like, well, you had a really good month this month. And then at the first, so we just started over November. You go back to 0. You had a great October, but your November is at 0, right? So it's like, what are you doing that you can bank on to continually be getting those numbers? And so that essentially your business runs without you. I mean, I was just talking to one of our business builders this morning, and we were talking about how I'm at a position right now where I'm only needed 8 hours of the week in my handyman business. And so I'm just steering the ship, right? I'm just making sure that it's going straight, and I'm focusing on working on the business so that I can hire more technicians and more estimators down the road. That's ultimately the position you want to get at, is where the business is running without you, and you really don't need to work other than growing the business. Like that's really, so one question I remember was asked in our marketing funnel strategy class right at the beginning of this year is, how do you know if you are busy, or how do you know if you're successful or just busy, right? And that's a very, very good question, right? And I think at the end of the day, it shows with your stress level and also your bank account, right? Like, do you have profit coming in, or are you running at a very thin line, And it ultimately, like, I love what my wealth coach says. He's like, not all liabilities show up on an expense sheet, right? Not all liabilities show up on a net worth sheet. So there are some liabilities that are not actual physical things. Stress, high stress and high anxiety is a liability, right? So you need to kind of take mental net worth of your emotional energy and realize and be like, wow, man, I'm growing too fast and it's making me stressful. And that's a huge liability. Maybe that's worth like negative all the money you made in October. I don't know, like that's for each of your own, but sorry, that's a little bit of a rant. Ryan Conrad said, harder worker if you got holes in your shirt. That's funny. Ryan, we love you, brother.
That's pretty good.
So you want to take this one, Jason, here?
I don't know if I want to take this one. I believe in developing relationships within your community that works both personally and for your business. I do know with realtors, they can be penny pinchers. They can be looking for the lowest cost fix so that they can tell their client it was fixed. So something to consider. If you're brand new and you need some work and you're looking for a portfolio, looking for a good review, then certainly. If you're looking for new ideas to generate leads because you're slow, definitely reach out to realtors. But I do know from my personal experience and then experiences that I've heard through the countless conversations I've had with customers and just handymen in general, that it really depends on the realtor. So I would just kind of, if you know the realtor, reach out to them and kind of feel them out and see if they'd be a person that you would enjoy working with. You certainly would expect a lower hourly rate for stuff like that because you're kind of a middleman. A lot of their jobs is just looking punch list to fix up a house so that they can sell it and make their commission. So there's some more economics at play.
Yeah. From the handyman side of things, I'll tell you straight up with my business, I have been reached out to by hundreds of realtors, hundreds. And I've only worked for a handful of them, and usually only once. I usually only work for realtors once. There's one or two realtors that I've worked for 2 or 3 times, but our relationships really don't last long. And that's because our businesses don't line up. They're in the business of getting stuff done cheap and quick. Okay. I'm in the business of charging people what I'm worth and usually having a schedule that's booked out for quite a while. So those businesses just naturally do not line up. You could create a business that's strictly realtor based. You only work for realtors, but your business is going to look a whole heck of a lot different than mine. It's all a matter of what kind of business structure you want to create and knowing where that line is. So it's like I've had tons of talks. Actually, my landlord here at the office, he wanted to hire me as his personal handyman. Our business to be his personal handyman. He has 5 different locations where he has offices all around. And that's awesome, right? That would be a huge moneymaker. But at the end of the day, we've submitted a bunch of estimates to him. We've done one job for him. And we basically finally came to an agreement. Like, our businesses just don't line up. He's looking for someone that's cheap and can get it done right now. Again, that's the exact opposite of how our business runs. So sometimes people that are looking for a handyman business are not going to match with your handyman business. And sometimes they are. Like, you just need to know that, right? I could easily create a business that matches my landlord's needs perfectly, but it would be a different business than what I have right now. So you just need to know what kind of business you're going after and really focus on that. Because if you are constantly jumping ship and being like, oh, I can help you here, I can help you here, I can help you there, but I want this and I want this, and you're not giving it to me. Like, if you're constantly jumping around, you're never going to be satisfied, never going to create something that is sustainable. So it's important to know that.
Yeah. It works the same. I mean, look at like any kind of like national brand, you know, that's why you can buy expensive clothes at the mall and you can find the same similar appearance stuff at Walmart, pay 25%. The quality's less. You can get it right there at Walmart while you're getting your groceries. It's pretty convenient, but it's a totally different, it's a totally different thing, you know, 2 separate businesses. And I think it's the exact same thing when you look at property maintenance for realtors and management companies, stuff like that. And then a very high level handyman home repair company who people trust them to do a great job to repair or fix something that's going to match the aesthetics of their home that they care about. Whereas that maintenance company that specializes in realtors and property maintenance, they would not meet the quality, but that's okay because you got the Walmart sweatshirt and you got the sweatshirt at the mall. So
yeah, and that's not saying that there's anything wrong with the Walmart style. I mean, Walmart are freaking multi-millionaires, right? So there's nothing wrong with that style. So if we're not saying that if you choose the Walmart or the realtor style that you're a lesser business, because you're not. Like, you can definitely create a great business in either one, but you need to choose which category you want to fit into, right? That's what you're kind of getting at, Jason, right?
Yeah, you got to pick your lane. You got to know your customer and build services that are appealing and valuable to your ideal customer that also meet your revenue, your profit goals. So it's a win-win because it's got to be win-win for you to be sustainable and to grow and to build a real business on.
Definitely. So we got Josh. Let's see. Let's get rid of this here. Josh Peckle. Where'd he go? He says, hey, Alan, first-time viewer from Wisconsin. Welcome. Army Gun says, thanks, guys. Let's see. What do you think is the best thing to have on your truck as far as content? Jason, you want to take this? I kind of already got on what I think is, but.
Yeah, I mean, I don't run a day-to-day operations handyman company. I just do the marketing, right? So I will say from a marketing perspective, keep it simple. I mean, especially when you think about the extreme of when someone will see you is they're driving past you on the interstate because you should be going slower than most people, right? It's like 5 under the speed limit in California. You're pulling a trailer. So keep it simple, man. Have your phone number, have your website, have your logo, just boom. What more do you need? Certainly mention handyman home repair company. there's plenty of examples. If you're not in the handyman, actually, if you're on Facebook, you're in the Handyman Journey Mastermind group.
Mm-hmm.
Look in the search bar, like for truck, trailer, wrap, whatever it is, and you will see tons of posts that have so many examples. And the beauty of it too, of this group, is that you can see the example and then you can see comments about people critiquing, giving feedback. So you literally have a wealth of knowledge and opinions of what should go on a trailer. But I would say to keep it simple, very straightforward: home repair, handyman. If you do remodeling, I mean, that pretty much summarizes, home repair and remodeling. But don't bog down with all the fence repair, drywall, all that stuff. I would keep it simple so you can make big the call to actions, free estimates, phone number, website, logo. I mean, that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I mean,
the group. Tons of information.
Yeah, the group is gold. Yeah. And any of you guys on YouTube that aren't in the Handyman Journey group, that's a free group you can join right now. Go on over to Facebook, type in Handyman Journey Mastermind group. It's excellent. And like I said before, we just got our truck decaled, and I went with bare bones, simple. It's our logo, which is honestly Handyman. Handyman's in big old letters, and then our phone number. That's it. And then I put your neighborhood handyman since 2016. But that's all I care for people to see is handyman and our phone number at the end of the day. And that's my own personal persona. And I'm really going after the logo, the brand. Like I said, I want our brand to be noticeable, kind of like I'm going after like Bonnie Plumbing, Heating and Air. That's here in Rancho Cordova. Like that's what I want, honestly, Handyman to be. So I'm really focusing on that brand and that logo as far as anything, because I'm in it for the long game. I'm not in it for what happens next month or next year or in the next 5 years or even the next 10 years. I'm in it for what happens in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. That's what I'm excited about, So let's see here. Earl McShane says I should post a picture of my trailer. Actually, I do have a picture of the U-Haul that I could bring up. Let's see here. You see any questions you want to tackle there?
Gotta say hi to Maui Steve in the
Maui
house.
Steve is in the house.
Barbiche from Canada. Glad we've been able to help, man. Tons of information out there. I mean, you can just kill it. Everybody here can, no doubt. There's plenty of work. Brian says plan. Ryan Arnold, how do you go about giving a customer an estimate on a job they need done? Alan is the closer with a close rate of, what was your close rate, man? 80-something%?
Yeah. 1 month
is insane. Yes. That is the closer right there. So Alan needs to answer that.
Yeah. The biggest thing is just giving them something that is that's professional. Like we use I recommend for others to use Markate. I'm actually going to be looking into another one here shortly. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like I don't give an estimate on the spot, but it's very important when you do the personal meeting, when you do an in-person estimate, because that's really where you create the rapport and help people get to know you. And then more likely they are to purchase what you have to offer. So yeah, that's kind of my little bit there. I wanted to show my truck real quick.
I have something quick to add on to that too. Something that someone told me the other day about like giving estimates and costs and stuff over the phone when you don't have enough information. And he said this: if you pulled up your car to an automobile shop and they didn't open up the hood or anything, they just said, "Oh, it's going to cost this much," you'd be kind of skeptical about that, right? Like, wait, you haven't even popped the hood, you haven't really seen what's going on. I just told you what I think is wrong, and you gave me a price. So the same would go for, like, obviously if you can give an estimate over the phone, a good estimate, then that's great. But overall, I think that giving, like Alan said, the personal connection goes to meet the customer. But a bigger point to that too, just as important as the personal connection, the rapport that Alan builds by going in person, is that he can give an honest estimate of how much he needs to make, his business needs to make to get the job done so that he can win and the customer can win. And so overall, at the end of the day, you want to be giving honest bids that, accurately scope out the work where you make money and the customer is satisfied with the repair.
Definitely. Wanted to show a quick picture here. So this is our truck. Can you guys see that? Can you see that, Jason?
Neighborhood handyman. Yep.
Yeah. So that's our truck. He's honestly handyman, and then your neighborhood handyman since 2016. There's Frank, our technician there. Yeah, so that's pretty much our truck. Like it's nothing really snazzy, but let's see.
That was the realtor related to the realtor question.
Oh, okay, I see. Barbish says, one thing that's not easy on starting our own business is pricing jobs. Your advice helps me a lot. Even if your prices seem way expensive, that way we see around my neighborhood. Thanks for everything. You're welcome, man. Great response, but would you say that still applies when and then the next one. When it's the client who's reaching out and not the realtor.
Is the client a realtor?
Well, I think he's saying like the realtor's client. So like the person selling the house is reaching out to you to do the work rather than the realtor. It's probably a lot easier to work for that person than the realtor, to be honest. But
yeah, and the homeowner is always going to be more invested in a quality repair. It's their house, it's their asset, so they are significantly exponentially more invested into the quality of repair than the realtor who's making the 6% or whatever it is off the commission.
Cool. Well, we are gonna hop out. Do you have anything else to add there, Jason?
No, man. I think I'm all set. I mean, unless anyone has any other questions about marketing or anything on their mind. Well,
yeah. Do you guys have any other questions for us before we head out? This has been excellent. It's been a fun little webinar here, and we do these twice a month, basically. So every 2 weeks on a Tuesday at 11:20 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you need to reach out to Jason, you can reach out to him at handymanwebdesign.com. Jason is a master at his art. We are handymen. We're not marketers. So if you're interested in marketing your business, you should be interested in marketing your business. Contact Jason Call. He can help you out with everything from creating a website to doing SEO magic and making your handyman business #1 in your area. So I couldn't speak more highly about this guy. If you are interested in marketing, he is your guy because he's been in it for years. He knows the trade. He knows about it. So reach out to him. If you guys need to reach out to me, my name is Alan Lee. Go to handymanjourney.com. And like we talked about before, we have a private business builders group, and we're having a private business builders coaching call tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're interested in that or getting more information on building a business, you can reach out to me, send me an email at handymanjourney@gmail.com. Let's see. This Facebook user says, Alan Lee, I know we are in the same boat being in California. I know the $500 job puts some of us in a bind. Do you still have to turn away large jobs? I'm being approached for $3,000 to $4,000 jobs. Legally, you cannot do $3,000 to $4,000 jobs. We talked about this really in depth on the last live video. So yeah, it's about figuring out what the law means, but per job, per project, you cannot do more than $500. So that's pretty much what I have there. So Dale Baker is actually in our mastermind or in our business builders group. So we'll see him this afternoon. And Dean Hazelwood is also in our private business builders group. So we'll see him tonight as well. So thank you all so much for tuning in. This has been an awesome, awesome webinar. We're here at about an hour. So thank you all so much. This is recorded live, but it will be posted in the Handyman Journey group and on YouTube. So you guys can check it out anytime you want. So Jason, you got any last words?
No, thanks for having me. I love doing these every few weeks. It's a lot of fun.
All right, guys. It's been great. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and we will catch you on the next one. See you guys later.